Now, the best person to speak on Delhi's experience and journey is Shri and Mohan sir, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Delhi EV Cell Transport Department at Government of NCT. Sir, over to you.
So, good morning everyone. So, thank you ICAT, thank you Ministry of Heavy Industries and Policy Times for this opportunity. So, the theme of this seminar is like, can the EV sector be India's next growth engine? The answer is yes. The reason being, if you look at the electric mobility journey, maybe like commencing from 2015 onwards, when the FAME 2 was launched, and subsequently we had FAME 1 was launched, and subsequently in 2019 we had FAME 2 program. So at the national level, there is like FAME 1 and FAME 2, which initiated the initial impetus for mobility industry. At a sub-national level, states start releasing out the electric vehicle policy. So Delhi also is one state which had a comprehensive electric mobility policy, which was launched in August 2020. So we'll be completing 3 years in this current year. So we had a series of experience in terms of like how the mobility has been increased at the state level. Especially when it comes to transportation sector, the close to 16% of the vehicular emissions are from road transport. So there is a clear indication that yes, there is a need to decarbonize the transport sector, and one of the way of doing it is by inducting more electric vehicles. So the state policy also clearing these ambitions, where in Delhi we have an ambition of having 25% electric vehicle sales by 2024. So that's at the sub-national level we have a target in place. Currently, if you look at our 3 years of journey, so when we started this 2020, the EV policy, initially the first year we had an adoption of around 2.5%, and subsequently it increased to 5.7%, and the last year it had around close to 10.2%. So currently we are close to 12% of EV registration when the overall vehicle segment is concerned. So largely Delhi is in mass segment for 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers. That is what we represent. And subsequently we had 4-wheelers, which is like marginally less in quantum, but our main focus is to electrify the 2 and 3-wheelers segment. Under the policy framework, we're also providing the purchase incentive. When I say purchase incentive, typically we provide a kind of an incentive for each segment of electric vehicles, which is more aligned to the FAME 2 policy. So in Delhi, like typically we provide around 5,000 rupees per kilowatt hour on the 2-wheeler segment, and the maximum up to 30,000 rupees per vehicle. The same is for the 3-wheeler segment also. So this has given a kind of an comfort to the customers to buy electric vehicles, because the cost of electric vehicles are high as compared to the ICE counterpart. So these kind of policy and demand incentive will help customers to acquire the electric vehicles by offsetting those initial upfront costs in the particular category. Lastly, if you look at the 2022 EV penetration in Delhi, especially the 3-wheeler goods segment is concerned, close to 65% of the 65% of the vehicles sold in the 3-wheeler goods segment is electrified. It means out of 100 vehicles sold in Delhi, especially the 3-wheeler goods category, 65 vehicles are electric. So this is a strong indication that, especially in the particular some of the segments are more inclined towards adopting these electric vehicles. The same applies for the motor cab too. In the 4-wheeler segment, we are touching close to 45%. Means 45% of the overall vehicles sold in the motor cab or the commercial 4-wheeler concerned are electric. So these segments are picking up very fast, and this is being backed by strong policy, the government push, and also having the strong network of EV charging station. So whenever we talk about electric vehicles, there's need for charging infrastructure. So Delhi has close to around 4,000 charging points, of which around 70% are slow charging points and around close to 12% are fast charging points. So this is helping the EV customers to use this network of EV charging stations across multiple locations, be it public locations, semi-public locations, or the private locations. So we have done some of the key pilot also to enable the shift to public transportation also. So we done recently a study in Dwarka sub-city. It's more like a proof of concept or a pilot project where we inducted electric autos for last mile connectivity services. This has gained a good traction and acceptance by the public also, where people start looking for e-autos for their mobility requirements for using the public transport, be it bus or be it the metro. So we want to more augment this particular segment for a larger cost. Now we want to induct an e-scooters, e-cycles as a mode for last mile connectivity in the coming months to come. If you look at the policy framework, we talk about like how we need to increase the EV penetration in Delhi. So we'll be coming out with a policy for motor vehicle aggregator scheme, I would say, which is mainly applicable for the aggregators and the delivery service providers, wherein we'll going to kind of a mandate targets for inducting electric vehicles by these companies. So typically the fleet companies who are providing the passenger transport services, delivery service providers who are providing services to e-commerce entities or other entities, they would be covered under this ambit, and where in a phased manner they need to induct electric vehicles in their operations. So typically in a span of like 4 to 5 years time, we want to ensure that all the vehicles which those such companies would induct would be electric. So series of measures have been planned by in Delhi to ensure that there is a transition towards the electric mobility in coming years. Just to like for a larger audience, like how the journey was of electric vehicles started, or means what's the clear experience from my side also. If you look at like 2019, that is where we started like seeing a revolution in the electric mobility industry. Typically, if you look at a four-wheeler segment, if somebody is tracking how the four-wheeler has grown in over 3 years' time, in 2019, typically the battery capacity of these electric cars was somewhat close to around 17 kilowatt hour, and the range was close to 130 kilometers per charge. So the people had a concern about like the range anxiety. The kilometers are inadequate, the range is inadequate, and there's a lesser acceptance by the customers also for opting these such electric cars. Though these we call typically a first generation electric cars. But if you look at the current trend of electric cars, the battery capacity are upwards of 30 kilowatt, and these are going close to like 70 to 90 kilowatt hour battery capacity, and where the range goes up to 500 kilometers. So what has increased the battery capacity has increased. So is it a solution to like keep on increasing the battery capacity to achieve those desired range? May not be a right answer, but typically I would say that initially yes, we need a longer range electric vehicle, so people have a comfort of driving the intercity, maybe like intracity also, where typically the driving kilometers spans over 200 kilometers in a day. So to some extent, I think the OEMs are able to bring such electric vehicles in the country. Now we have more than I think 6 or 7 OEMs who have launched electric vehicles in their portfolio, and the range are upwards of 400 kilometers, and especially in the commercial segments are concerned, the acceptance has increased as compared to the private individual buyers. The second is, if you look at the 2 years of electric mobility, we see initially there were only 2 models from the major auto OEMs. Now we have more than like 7 or 8 models which are available to the customer. So choice has increased for customers to choose the electric vehicles. In Delhi, if you look at the number of like OEMs in the 2-wheelers, it's more than 23, and 3-wheelers it's more than 70. If you look at in the 4-wheelers, it's around like close to like 4. If you look at one is the OEM numbers are increased. If you look at dealer network also in Delhi, I think if you look at the 3-wheeler dealers network, it's more than 200, and in 2-wheelers it's more than 131. It means like gradually there is a network of the dealership which has helped customers to like reach out to those OEM partners and inquire about electric vehicles and acquire those electric vehicles. So we see, I think the larger OEM participation is required. So now I think with the industry and with such consultation, this is evolving very fast. With respect to some points on the charging side is concerned, if you look at the 2-wheelers and 3-wheeler segments are concerned, we have both variants of electric vehicles. We have fixed battery electric vehicles, and also we have the battery swapping station module also, where the vehicles comes with a swappable battery, where the people can at least like replace their discharge battery with the charge battery at the swapping station. So this has picked up largely in the commercial segment in the 2 and 3-wheelers. We see a strong value in the battery swapping stations too. The reason being, it is going to offset the cost of the electric vehicle as the battery is offered as a service to the end customers. So this is bringing a lot of change, especially in the commercial application. But in the 4-wheelers concerned, I think it's more about the price and the range, which will be a determining factor for the end customers to choose. So largely when you talk about the charging infrastructure, so we get a lot of concern about like how this infra could be made more reliable, because initially it was more about like giving a comfort to the EV user that there are so many charging points available in and around the city. But now the people look at the reliable charging network. The people talk about the service level of the charging station. it's more becoming a service industry. Gradually the electric mobility is becoming a service industry where people are looking for service and the quality output. If you look at the charging station across, like at the national level also, we get a lot of complaints about the reliability, the uptime, the maintenance of those chargers. Now the time has come where industry and as a ecosystem partners also, we need to start looking like how we can at least like make these system more easily or available to the public, which is more convenience for them to use this facility. And lastly, I think the public transportation, I think we're inducting electric buses, I think thanks to Niti Aayog, Ministry of Heavy Industry and FAME 2 also. We're operating 300 electric buses presently. And we have plans to induct around close to 6,300 buses in next 3 years' time, which means the presently at the 4% is our the public transport is electrified. But next in 3 years' time, close to 80% of our public transport system will be electrified. So this is one way we're trying to at least like join the growth journey of electric mobility. It's a beginning, and maybe like for the young generation who are pursuing electric mobility as their key area or expertise, I think it's the right time people should at least like get in to those academy and strengthen this ecosystem. So with this, I once again thank ICAT and Policy Times for the opportunity and look forward for the fruitful discussion. Thank you so much.